A very good morning to all. Today we will continue with the topic that is a wound. In the previous lecture, we have seen classifications of wound. Now, the wound healing stages and process, and the factors affecting the wound healing. Okay, wound we already know that it is a cut in the continuity of the skin. And healing means to regain the previous skin integrity. So wound healing, that is, in simple terms, it is a process by which the wounds it gets healed in the proper way. Okay, so that is a wound healing. Next, types of wound healing or stages of wound healing, they both are same. Okay, if the question is asked type or stages, then the answer will be same. Okay, the wound will be healed by primary, secondary, and tertiary healing. Okay, primary, that is first intention, secondary, that is second intention, and tertiary, that is third intention. Okay, so what is first? The primary healing. Primary healing, that is first intention. Okay, in that it includes the clean incision wound or surgical wound. Okay, clean, that we already discussed in the surgical classification of the wound. Okay, so clean incision wound or surgical wounds, they are healed by primary healing. In that, what happens? The epithelial regeneration, then the fibrosis. Okay, regeneration means redevelopment of the epithelial cells and the tissues. Then the fibrosis. The wound, they heals. The timing, that is very short. They heals rapidly and with the complete closure. Okay? There is no any breakdown that remains after the first intention healing. Okay? So that is primary healing. This healing by primary intention. Okay? Here we can see that the layer of the skin, that is first epidermis, then dermis, and after that the tissues will be there. Okay? So here the fibrin is there. Wound, it is the joint by the fibrin plug. Okay? What is fibrin, that we will discuss afterwards. After that, the regrowth of the basal layer of the epidermis. Okay, the epidermis layer which was cut, and there is a regrowth of the layer. Then lysis of fibrin and reepithelization. Lysis means there is a breakdown of the fibrin and reepithelization. Next is restoration of the intact skin. Means the skin that is restored as it was previously. Okay, so that is wound edges, they are joined by the fibrin plug, then the regrowth of the basal layer of this epithelial, then lysis of the fibrin and reepithelization, and lastly restoration to intact skin. Okay, so that is a primary healing or healing by first intention. Okay. Next, that is secondary healing or healing by second intention. Okay, so which type of wounds they are healed by second intention? The wound that have extensive soft tissues loss. Okay, in the first iteration, there is no any loss of the tissue. So the wound with extensive soft tissue loss, they are healed by secondary healing or secondary intention. They heal slowly with the fibrosis, and it leads into a wide scar, often hypertrophied and contracted. Leads into a wide scar, means the scar that is wide, the area will be larger. So leads to wide scar means area hypertrophies. Next, hypertrophy, that is increased cell size and numbers, and contracting means the tissues, they have become contracted. Here the term fibrosis. What is the fibrosis? Fibrosis, it is a thickening and scarring of the connective tissues. Okay, the tissues, they become thick and scarred and they are usually as a result of the injury. Fibrosis that is happens due to any injury or due to any scar. Okay, so that is a fibrosis. So healing by secondary intention, that what happens. So here the layer they are clear, epidermis, dermis, next is the tissues. So here the large detect filled by fibrin clot. Okay. So here the area that is covered by a fibrin clot. Next is granulation tissues. So before moving to the granulation tissues, the fibrin clot, what is the fibrin? So fibrin is a fiber or it is a non-globular protein, okay, and that is involved in the clotting of the blood. Okay, as the injury is there, then the clotting mechanism will get activated, and that is the blood will get clot and stop the bleeding. So that is a fibrin. Okay? And it is due to the action of the thrombin on the fibrinogen. Okay, so that is about the fibrin. Next is the granulation tissues will be there in that new blood vessels and fibroblasts they grow from the dermis into the fibrils. Okay, so here the new vessels and fibroblasts they grow. After that fibrous scar, there is a collagen laid down by the granulation tissues and fibroblasts to restore the integrity. So here the development of the granulation tissues are there. So what is the granulation tissues? They are nothing others but they are only the connective tissues and they are having the microscopic blood vessels that form on the surface of the wound. Means a smaller vessels they develop at the surface of the wound during the process of the healing and which provides a blood supply to the areas. And lastly, the maturation of the collagen they achieve structural integrity and allows regrowth of the epidermis. Okay, so collagen they are having the maturity, they reaches to a stage of the maturation and the regrowth of the epithelium will be there. Okay, so healing by secondary intention that is healed the wound which are healed under the secondary intention they are having extensive soft tissue loss. They are healed slowly but with the fibrosis and it leads into wide scar often hypertrophies and the contracted. Okay, so secondary intention in that first that is large defect filled that is filled by the fibrin clot is there. Next the granulation tissues they develop granulation tissues the connective tissues and they grow the from the dermis into the fibrin. After that collagen tissues they laid down by the granulation tissues and restore the integrity of the skin. And lastly, maturation of the collagen and they give the regrowth of the epidermis. Okay, so at last, skin will be a normal. Next, there is a healing by third intention. That is tertiary wound healing or delayed primary closure. Okay, means in that the wound that is closed but it is delayed means it takes a longer time to heal. Okay, so healing by third intention it occurs in the wounds which are left open means there is no any suturing, no any repair is done for the tertiary wound healing. Okay. For the debridement. Okay, debridement is what? Debridement is a any foreign substance or any fluids which are removed by the procedures. Okay, means patients they are having some foreign body inside the wound, then it is removed. First formation is there, any dead tissues are there, they are removed by the debridement. After the wound development and the control of local infection, so the material or the tissues they are removed and after that control of the local infections by antibiotic and other measures, the wound is closed with the sutures or covered using the skin graft. Okay, sutures, that you understand that with the help of the suturing, the wound is closed. Other, that is a skin grafting. Skin grafting, that is a procedure under which the patient's own skin may be used to cover the area, and sometimes the skin of donor is used, but mostly the body will accept the own skin. So from one part the skin is removed and it is covered, it is used for covering the wound. Okay, so stages of the wound healing, there is mainly three. There is healing by primary intention, secondary intention, and tertiary intention. Okay. Now phases of the wound healing. If the phases is asked, then the answer will be different, and the stages is asked, then the answer will be different. Okay, so when the skin is injured, our body it sets into motion and automatic series of the events. So when we get any injury, automatically there are so many changes in our body, so many secretions are there, they occur by self, and they are often referred to as a cascade of healing. Cascade, that is nothing but it is a stages of the healing in order to repair the injured tissue. So the all these changes, they occur to repair the injured tissues. So the cascades of healing, it is divided into the four overlapping phases. Means the stages of wound healing or phases, they are four. That is first hemostasis, inflammatory, proliferative, and lastly the maturation. Okay, so remember this thing, these four phases of the wound healing, that is hemostasis, inflammatory, proliferative, and maturation. Okay, first is the hemostasis. Okay, so hemostasis, thus in simple meaning, hemostasis means stopping of the blood. Okay, means after the injury, the patients or persons experience the bleeding. So when the bleeding is occurs, then we are applying sometimes pressure, the clotting factors will get activated, and that is all known as the hemostasis, stop of the bleeding. Second, inflammatory. Inflammatory, that is a body's response. The body will give response. Suddenly there is development of the swelling, temperature will be high, so that is the inflammatory. Next is the proliferative. Okay, proliferation or proliferative, that is simply rapidly increasing the number or amount of something, means the rapidly reproduction of this cell, part, or organisms, that is proliferation. And lastly, maturation. So the cells which are rapidly developed under the proliferation, they are getting the maturation by the maturation phase. Okay, so these are the phases of the wound. First phase, that is hemostasis. Hemostasis is the first phase of the healing, which begins at the onset of injury. Means when the patients they get injury, immediately the hemostasis will be begin, and the objective is to stop the bleeding. Okay, hemostasis, that is nothing but it is stopping of the bleeding. In this phase, the body it activates its emergency repair system. Okay, so the brain they get the signs and immediately there is activation of the emergency repair system and the clotting system. Means you have already known the clotting factors, so the all the clotting mechanism, all the clotting system, they get activated and they forms a dam to block the drainage. Okay, so dam, that is like small parts and they helps to block the drainage, or it is a layer or which can prevent a blood loss. During this, the platelets come into contact with the collagen. Okay. Platelets, the important role of platelets to stop the bleeding and other important role of the thrombin. So the platelets they come into contact with the collagen and they resulting in activation and the aggregation. After the activation, the enzyme that is called thrombin is at the center and it initiates the formation of the fibrin mesh which strengthen the platelet clumps into a stable clot. Okay. So all things they develop and they will form a clot. Clot, it helps to stop the bleeding. Next is the fibrin clot. Okay, fibrin that we already know, that is a non-globular protein. Okay, and it is formed to stop the bleeding that we have already discussed previously. So in the hemostasis phase, it says stop the bleeding. Second, activation of the emergency system is there. Platelet and thrombin role will be important. Second phase, that is defensive or inflammatory phase. During phase 2, a type of WBC, that is white blood cells, they are called the neutrophils, they enter the wound to destroy the bacteria and to remove the debris. Means any dead tissues are there and it will be removed, and to destroy the bacteria, there is activation of the neutrophils. These cells they often reach their peak population between 24 and 48 hours after the injury. Means whenever the patients get injury, after the injury between 24 to 48 hours, there is a higher production of these white blood cells. They are neutrophils. They are reducing greatly in number after 3 days. Okay, after 3 days, they decrease the number as the white blood cells leave. Specialized cells, they are called the macrophages. Okay, when they leave another cells, they are entered, or they leave specialized cells, they are the macrophages. They continue clearing debris. So after the neutrophil, macrophages they take the role of the neutrophils to continue the clearing of the debris. Now remember, what is a debris? That is a dead tissues or any foreign material. These cells also secrete a growth factors and protein. They attract immune system cells to the wound to facilitate tissue repair. Okay? So these cells, they are the macrophage. They secrete a growth factors, means growth hormones, other growth factors, and the protein. And they will attract the immune system to facilitate the tissues repair. This phase often lasts 4 to 6 days and is often associated with the edema, erythema, heat, and pain. Okay, so edema, erythema, heat, and pain, they are the signs of the inflammation. Okay, so the summary of the inflammatory phase, that is a second phase under this phase the WBC cells, that is called neutrophils, they entered into the wound. They will help to destroy the bacteria and remove the debris. The most highest number of neutrophils, that is between 24 to 48 hours after the injury, and after that, after 3 days, the numbers will be reduced. After the neutrophils, the role will be shifted to a macrophages. They will continue to clear the debris. Okay? After that, they secrete the growth factors and protein, and they affect the wound, or they facilitate the wound to repair the tissues. This phase it lasts 4 to 6 days. Okay, under this phase the symptoms they appear, that is edema, erythema, that is redness of the skin, heat, and the pain. After that, proliferative phase. Okay, proliferative phase that we have discussed, that simply that is increase in the number of the cells, means rapidly increase in the cells. Once the wound is cleaned out, the wound enters into phase 3. There is a proliferative phase. The focus is to fill and cover the wounds. Means we have to fill and cover the wounds. So for filling and covering of the wound, there is rapidly there is a growth of the cells. It three distinction stages: filling of the wound, contraction of the wound margins, and covering of the. So firstly, the wound it is filled with tissues. After that, the contraction of the margin, means the edges of the wound they come in contact and they are covered the whole epithelium. During the first stage, shiny, deep, red granulation tissues, they fill the wound bed with the connective tissues and the new blood vessels they are formed. Okay, fibroblasts that we have seen, that is connective tissues and new blood vessels they are formed. During the contraction, the wound margins they contract, means they come in nearer and pulls towards the center of the wound. Okay? So the area that will become shorter. In the third stage, the epithelial cells they arise from the wound bed or margins and they begins to migrate across the wound bed in leapfrog fashion until the wound is covered with the epithelium. The leapfrog that is advancing means there is rapidly the wound beds they getting close and they are covered with the epithelium. The proliferative phase they often lasts anywhere from 4 to 24 days. This is, we can say that this is a larger phase that can last up to 24 days. After the maturation phase, that is the last. During the maturation phase, the new tissues they slowly gains strength and the flexibilities. So the tissues and cells which are developed under the proliferative phase here, under the maturation phase, they slowly gain the strength and the flexibility to help to facilitate the healing. The collagen fibers they reorganizes, the tissue remodels and matures, and there is an overall increase in the tensile strength. So collagen fiber tissues they reorganizes the tissues, they are remodeling means rearrangement of the tissues and they will become mature and there is an overall increase in the tensile strength of the tissues. This phase it varies greatly from wound to wound, depends on the wound size, the severity of the wound, the duration will be varies and often it is lasting anywhere from 21 days to 2 years. Okay? So that is a maturation phase. These four phases of the wound healing process. First phase that is hemostasis, under that stopping of the blood loss. Second phase that is inflammatory phase, that redness swelling will be developed. Next is the proliferative phase, that rapid development and growth of the cells. And last is the maturation, the new tissues develop. Under the proliferative phase, they gain strength and flexibility under the maturation phase. Okay. In the last that I told that the proliferative phase it is longest, sorry, but the maturation phase it is a longer phase in the wound healing process. Okay, so here that is a revision of the wound healing process. Hemostasis, stopping of the blood. Under that blood clot is formed. That is fibrin and platelet. Second, inflammatory stage is developed. Fibroblast. After the fibroblast, the neutrophils, white blood cells will be there. After the white blood cells they are removed, neutrophils are removed, the role will be replaced by the macrophages. New blood vessels they are developed, this gap will be developed. The proliferative phase, a new cells they are developing, fibroblasts they proliferating, subcutaneous fats they develop, and new cells growth will be there. And last, this remodeling phase or maturation phase. This freshly healed epidermis can be developed. Freshly healed dermis is there, means the skin it's completely repaired under the demodeling phase. So these are the phases of wound healing. I think it may be clear to all now. Next is factors affecting wound healing. If the question is asked in 2 marks or 3 marks, there is no need to write the description, only list out the factors. And second, the question is asked under the 5 marks, then you have to give a description of certain or something important factors among this. Right, the factors they are divided into two, that is local factors and second is the systemic factors. Local means they are only affected or they are only responsible for any particular organ. Systematic means overall. Okay, means overall body or overall persons, they're completely affected and ultimately they are affecting the wound healing. Okay, so local factors under that, first is oxygenation, means the level of oxygen, saturation of oxygen. Second is infection, means the presence of infection. Next is foreign body, any foreign body is there, and venous sufficiency, means venous supply, that is blood supply. Systemic factors, they are age and gender of the patients, sex hormones, stress level, ischemia, that is inadequate oxygen and blood supply, patients with the diabetes, patients with the obesity, patients who are taking certain medications, patients who are having the habits of alcoholism and smoking, and last is the nutrition. So these are the local and systemic factors which affects the wound healing. So some important factors that we will discuss. First is oxygenation. Okay, oxygen is important for cell metabolism, especially for the energy production by means of the ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, that you have learned in the 12th science that it is helpful for the release of the energy. It prevents the wound from the infection. Means if the patients they are having proper oxygenation, then the wound healing will be proper. Oxygenation will help to prevent the infection, the induce angiogenesis, increase keratinocyte differentiation, migration, and reepithelialization. And they enhance the fibroblast proliferation and collagen synthesis and promotes the wound healing. So here, angiogenesis, it is a physiological process through which new blood vessels they are formed from the pre-existing vessels. Means the new blood vessels they are formed for the continuous growth and for continuous supplies to a wound. They enhance the fibroblast proliferation that we have discussed in the phase, collagen synthesis, and they promote the wound healing or wound contractions to reduce the size of the wound. Due to vascular disruption, if the vascular supply is disturbed and high oxygen consumption by metabolic active cells, the microenvironments of the early wound is depleted of oxygen and it is quite a hypoxia. Means if a vascular supply is not proper, in spite of high oxygen consumption by the cells, the wound they are having a hypoxia, means a decreased oxygen level in the tissues. The proper oxygen level is crucial for optimum wound healing. Hypoxia stimulates the wound healing, such as release of growth factor, angiogenesis, while oxygen is needed to sustain the healing process. The one therapeutic option that can sometimes overcome to the influence of the tissue hypoxia is hyperbaric oxygen therapy. This hyperbaric oxygen therapy that is very effective for wound healing. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, that is a therapy that involves breathing a pure oxygen. Means the patients they will breathe a pure oxygen in a pressurized room or with the help of the tubing, like we are giving through the mask, through the cannula, through the catheter. So a completely oxygen therapy, that is pure oxygen, it is given to a patient to promote the healing. Next factor, that is infection. If any other infection is there, any presence of microorganism is there, then the process of wound healing will be delayed. Once the skin is injured, microorganisms they are normally sequestered at the skin surface. They obtain access to the underlying tissues. Means the microorganism they can reach to underlying tissues. The inflammation it is a normal part of the wound healing. Means the redness or swelling is a normal and it is important to remove a microorganisms. In absence of effective decontamination, the inflammation is prolonged. Means if the proper decontamination is not there, then the inflammation process will be longer, and since The microbial clearance is incomplete. The microorganisms that must be removed by the macrophages, they are incompletely removed. So the patients must not have any infection to promote the wound healing. Next is the systematic factor. Three is the age of the patients. As we know that the children and adults, they are having a proper growth factors. So they are healed quickly or with minimal timing. But the people who are old age groups, they are having a risk for the wound healing. So the elderly population, that is the people over 60 years, is growing faster than any other age groups. WHO and increased age is a major risk for impaired wound healing. Means that people, that is old age people, they are having a risk for the improper wound healing. Many clinical and animal studies have been done and conclude that aging is causes a temporal delay in healing. Means it is a temporary delay in healing but not actual impairment in terms of the quality of healing. Means the old age people, they are not having proper healing, improper healing. It is delay but it is healed in a proper way. Delay wound healing is in age is associated with altered inflammatory response. Means it is due to there is alteration in the inflammatory response, the wound healing process will be delayed. Next, the hormones, sex hormones in the aged individuals. As we know that the hormones of the male and female, they are different. Okay, so sex hormones, they play important role in the age-related wound healing deficits. Compared with the age female, the age males, they have been shown to have delayed healing of acute wounds. Means the female hormone, they are positive or they are actively helping for the wound healing. Female estrogen and male androgens, they have significant effect on the wound healing process. Estrogen, it affects the wound healing by regeneration of the matrix production and the protease. Next is the nutrition. Nutrition, there is patients, they are having well nutrition or they are having the malnutrition. So malnutrition means the patients, if they are having anemia or any other deficiency of any particular vitamin, carbohydrate, energy, then it can impair the wound healing. Malnutrition or specific nutrient deficiency, they can have a profound impact on the wound healing. For example, energy, carbohydrate, fats, vitamins, and mineral metabolism, they can affect a healing process. Carbohydrate, protein, amino acids, and glucose. It's a major source that provides energy for the angiogenesis and deposition of the new tissues. The protein is important nutrient factor they affecting the wound healing. So the patients or persons, they must have a proper nutrition. Next is obesity. A patient who weighs 20% more than his or her ideal body weight. The patients, they are having higher weight, then the higher risk for infection leading to an interruption of the healing process. Means the wound healing process will be impaired or interrupted. Nurses can reduce the risk of complication by encouraging the patient utilize a binder or splint. Means certain body binders are available, splints are available. They are applied over the incision during the straining or cuffing. Means straining and cuffing, they help to relax the area, and contraction of area, it is important for the healing. So they must be contracted and they prevent the relaxation by the use of the binder and the splint. Next is repeated trauma. Means if the patients, they are having repeated injury, the patient's body's defense mechanism, they become limited due to overuse. If the patients have multiple wounds or injury, if we are having a continuous surgery, a continuous wound, continuous accidents, some diseases over a short period, then our body, they are having the defense mechanism will be some weaker. So repeated trauma can alter a wound healing. Skin and moisture. Skin, they must have adequate amount of fluid, ensure proper functioning and viability of the tissue. Patient may experience drying and scaling of the skin if the moisture is altered in any format, thus predisposing the patients to further skin breakdown and infection. Okay, so we have two patients is instructed to maintain a proper skin integrity by the use of the moistures or as per the seasons. Next, wound infection. Due to the injury process, all wounds they are contaminated with the bacteria. The patient's immune competency means their immune response and the size of the bacterial inoculum determine whether the wound will become infected or not. Okay, so patient's immune system. If the patient's immunity is higher, the immune system is very active, then there are less chances of the infection. Next, the size of the bacteria in column means the size under which the bacteria will be entered. That is also affecting the wound healing. Next is behavior of the patients. That is, we can say that the lifestyle of the patients. Patients' behavior and lifestyle choices, such as the patients are having smoking and drinking excessively. They're getting poor sleep and they are failing to clean and dress up the wounds. Means the patients they need to clean the wound, they have to maintain the hygiene of the wounds and all over the body. And continuous or as per the doctor's orders, the dressing of the wound will be needed. So if the patients they are having smoking and drinking and they are not able to take care about the wounds, can significantly delay the healing. Next is the medical history. Means if any patients with the low blood pressure, vascular disease, means the disease of the heart or edema, they often experience slow or complicated healing. Additionally, a repeated trauma, as we have discussed before, meaning the patients endured a multiple wounds, underwent a multiple surgery, or continues to get injured, they can limit the body's defense mechanism to heal properly. Next is the care of the wound, means a patient's. Not only the healthcare providers are responsible, but patients are also responsible to take care of the wound. For instance, a regular cleaning and dressing change. It can protect affected area from infections and other complications. You may have seen in the surgery ward that the dressing of the patients they are changing and they are cleaning to prevent the infection. An optimal level of moisture at the wound site also facilitates the proper healing. At the site of wound, the level of moisture will be maintained and it helps to facilitate the healing. Poor blood circulation. Since the blood delivery is a necessary component to the tissues for the wound healing process. Because without blood supply, oxygen supply is altered and the wound healing that is altered. So take place the people with low blood pressure or vascular diseases. They can have the problems with the delay wound healing. Blocked or narrow blood vessels or other diseases of the heart, kidney and lungs. They also cause the issues in the body. They are delivering the vital wound healing components, including white blood cells and liquid oxygen to the wounded tissues. So if the blood supply is not proper due to any disease like heart, kidney and lung, then the wound healing will be altered. Next is edema. While most traumatic injuries, edema it is a common for sometimes. It causes some tissue swelling or excessive edema. It can increase the pressure on the blood vessels. If excessive edema is there, then it can increase the pressure on the blood vessels, and they are resulting in poor blood circulation. Okay, a very short time for edema, then it is a normal response under the inflammation. But if excessive edema is there, then the blood circulation will be poor in the wound area. Tissue swelling can be caused by the heart conditions or blood vessel problems. So swelling of the tissues, they can also result due to a problem of the heart. Compression therapy. A compression device, that is a pressure device. It is often effective at the transporting fluids back into the circulatory system. Compression stockings are also available to reduce the edema so proper healing can occur. So edema, excessive edema is injurious or can alter the healing process. So that is all about the wound healing.